It's my fight prediction for Josh Kelly versus Ishmael Davis. This should be an interesting matchup. Ishmael Davis doesn't have a lot of 12-round experience going the distance. He's been in mostly 8-round fights. And Josh Kelly is mostly a guy who's fought guys who's been in different weight classes and also at super welterweight. And that is basically the advantage he has. He's fought guys who's been 160, things like that, in their career. So this should be a huge advantage for him coming in with the experience and also the weight. I feel like he's fought guys at a higher weight that's basically gave him some kind of advantage. But going into this fight, he should be able to use the jab a lot more. Now, Josh Kelly's not going into this fight using the jab at a high level because I feel like him and Davis don't have a lot of head movement. Even if they do feel like the punches aren't really that hard, you just don't want to take shots to the face just to take them for no reason. So I feel like they both lack a lot of head movement. So this should be a back and forth fight where these guys will land a lot of shots. I think Josh Kelly throws bigger punches. I feel like his shots are a lot more upstairs than to the body. He is somebody that has a good right hand, but at the same time, that only carries you a certain amount in the fight. He throws a lot of hooks, big hooks too. And I feel like he has to be a lot more patient, not too fast. He starts off very fast. He's a very fast early fighter. He starts off very fast. And Ishmael Davis, he's kind of going into it where he'll kind of pace himself, not really let anybody speed him up. He's very patient. I feel like that's a huge advantage for him, with him being patient in the fight and not really, but the lack of experience in those late rounds, those championship rounds, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's going to hurt him a lot because from what I've seen, it seems that he'll struggle in those rounds, but he's still, you're not really going to be great at it until you actually try it. So he can actually go out in this fight and have some bad rounds early, but in those late rounds, he could show up. The guy seemed like he has a lot of heart. So he can pull off this fight, fighting efficiently and using that jab and combinations. One thing I seen from Josh Kelly I don't like later on in the fight is he'll throw a 1-2, maybe even 3 punch combination. So he'll throw one big shot, clinch, 2 shots, clinch. I'm not gonna be scoring those kind of rounds like that. If the other guy is being efficient and putting on more punches and punishment in the fight, because I've seen fans recently say that, well, those rounds, I think that he won those rounds. I don't like when fans do that. They're scoring rounds where guys are not even letting their hands go. They're throwing 1 or 2 shots, then grabbing. I know that's a part of boxing, but I'm talking about the strategy. If that's how you're going the second half of the fight, and the other guy jabbing and letting his hands fly, that means you're losing when you're giving away punches and you're not really strategizing. Throwing a 1-2 then grabbing, throwing a 1-2 then grabbing. How you can't fight 15 minutes like that and put on a lot of damage. I haven't seen him damage a lot of guys actually doing that. Usually when he does that, the fight goes the distance. When he's on the outside, moving good, and that's a stamina issue. That's not something where it's like he starts off the fight like that. He doesn't start the fight off like that. Let me say this for the fans. So when the fight happens and they try to explain, well, Davis didn't do that much, and I'm telling you right now, if he's in later rounds, past the 6th round to the 12th, if he's throwing 1 or 2 shots and grabbing, I'm not finna give that to the advantage to that guy. Just telling you. Especially if Ishmael Davis, now if he's scoring and he's doing a good job of going to the body and setting things up, and he's wearing Davis down, and I will give him the points for that. But I've seen a lot of time lately, they try to give him the rounds for the 1-2 shot, 1-2, grab, 1-2 grab. No, we're not gonna do that. I'm not giving no. If people want to talk about how you score a fight and judge and everything else, you can win rounds like that, but the other guy has to be doing less or close to nothing in those fights. I'm just saying. And Ishmael Davis is not a guy who's gonna sit there and just let somebody throw a 1-2, a 1-2, a 1-2, and just take a lot of shots. So Josh Kelly has to be able to be patient, take his time, and use those rounds. Because I think he's overall a better fighter. But he has to be able to use those rounds and be patient, take his time. Slowly and slowly and slowly. Take your time, be patient, go through everything. If you want to start off fast with a jab and then go into your combinations later, then do that. But a lot of times I've seen him start off with combinations, and then later on in the fight, he's throwing 1-2s, and then he's just grabbing on 1-2 and fighting off the ropes. You can win a fight like that, but it's not going to be a dominating performance against a guy like Ishmael Davis, who's got an opportunity of a lifetime fighting on the biggest card he's ever fought on, biggest fight he's ever fought in. So unless he goes out here and just falls flat on his face and chokes and gets nervous, I see Josh Kelly dominating all the way, clear cut. Might even get a stoppage. But if Davis goes out here and is motivated, because he was already training for another fight, even though he's a late replacement, the dude's a threat. And to be honest with you, man, I need to see something else from Josh Kelly right now, because I feel like the scoring has been a little lopsided. And I don't know if that was because he's been the favorite and everything else, but the scoring has been lopsided. So I have to see, is he going to be able to go in this fight and dominate and win clear rounds, clear-cut rounds? He has to go in here and win clear-cut rounds. End of story. I don't want to fall into a situation where we're hung up on how efficient he is or how many punches he's throwing, and the damage, or not even just the damage that he's receiving is worse than the damage he's actually giving out. I'm not talking about visibly or anything. I'm talking about overall, from the strategy to the body work, everything. If he's not going to the body, working overall, it's going to be hard to give it to him. And I feel like Ishmael Davis is going to go in there and try to have the fight of his life. He really is. I really think so. This is more of a do or die fight for him. If Josh Kelly, he's already had a loss, so, but people will look at Ishmael Davis a lot different with this win, and I think he can pull it off, man. I definitely think he can pull it off. I'm gonna have to lean towards him in this fight, even though I'm more of a fan of Josh Kelly. I think Ishmael Davis is definitely slept on. I think he's gonna have a lot in this fight, but I'm just throwing that out there because people have been scoring fights. I seen in the Troy Williamson fight, a lot of people were saying for both guys that a 1-2 and a clinch is more than just guys sitting there popping the jab and throwing combinations and pivoting and blocking a lot of shots. That's not scoring rounds to some people. So they're looking at the power shots and the big punch, which is not even hurting people. A lot of these guys leaving fights without bruises or cuts, and the other guys just smashed up to pieces. So a lot of times we gotta look at that. But I think I'm gonna go with Ishmael Davis for an upset in this fight. I think he's gonna pull it off. I really do. I think Josh Kelly is a better fighter at this point right now. But I don't know if he's hungry as a guy like Davis is. Davis took the fight immediately. Like, let's go. I want to fight. And if you guys remember, it's kind of like a similar situation. Not as similar because it was a little more time, but Andrew Ruiz was doing something like that when he was fighting Joshua. And I said to myself, this dude is already in fighting shape and he's ready to go. This can be something tricky because this is a guy who just came out of nowhere and now he's an opponent. And it tends to happen with Eddie Hearn's matchmaking. So I'm definitely going to go with Davis in this fight, man. That's all I got. Like and subscribe.